Hello and welcome back. So I think I've pretty much figured out everything about the RSBN navigation mode on the L-39, so we're gonna take a look at this and I'm gonna explain pretty much all the switches and modes. Let's just make a quick mission. We will start in the air for this one. Okay, we will go to, well, let's see. First we will choose an airport that has RSBN and PRMG. This is the RSBN channel of Krasnodar Center, and it has a PRMG channel too. So we can land here, or we can use Kremsk, or for instance Vostok. I don't think Makeup has one. Oh, it does seem to have PRMG and an RSBN channel. Okay, let's check that real quick. Yeah, that's right. So we are gonna take Makeup in this instance. We are gonna leave the default channel settings. Okay, I mean, we are already good to go. We will just add a waypoint to set our initial direction of flight. Let's say here, for instance. Or make it more interesting. We are flying here, and then we wanna land at Makeup. Okay, we are at, yeah, that's fine. Start it. Okay, I'm gonna post some data from my Excel sheet. Let's just quickly pause and let's go over everything. So we have already spoken about the EDF. Here's the cursor. The cursor is acting up. So we already talked about the EDF, and now we are going to talk about the RSBN here, and the part of the panel over here. That is all RSBN. Let's go over the switches real quick. This is the SDU. That's a command switch that basically enables the PRMG landing navigation information on the ADI. RSBN usually uses only the RMI or HSI down here, and here you see the flags for direction and altitude, and the same flags are on the ADI. and the SDU activates this mode on the ADI, so you can fly with either one of those systems. Although I have to say the RMI is way more precise for landing. Then here we have the RSBN mode selector. Typically it's set to navigation if you want to navigate from point A to point B. If you then choose to land, you would select an airport to land to, set the channel, the RSBN and landing channel, although the landing channel at first is not needed, because you would set it to GlidePath mode. In the GlidePath mode, it would use the normal RSBN channel, but it would show you a glide path down to the runway PRMG mode altitude. The landing mode is a bit tricky to activate because you need to be inside of the PRMG beam. If you can imagine, the RSBN is like the NDBs from the ADF control system, a beacon that sends out via a frequency. The PRMG beacon is not a beacon per se, it's a beam riding along the runway out into space, so to say. So you have to be near enough of the beam to get it so that it can activate the onboard systems. And the glide path will show you the path down to the level of the glide beam. That's about 600 meters and altitude, and I think well, you pretty much choose the distance at where you angle your jet onto the runway heading. And when you follow the glide path down to the airport and hopefully on the runway heading, you will then get the beam signal of the PRMG. If when the glide mode is finished with getting you down safely, you will see a end of descent light go on. This tells you that the glide path mode has finished its work, and you then switch to landing mode, and the PRMG system with the PRMG channel will activate. Identify button, I haven't yet found out what this is good for, as well as the testing button. I don't yet know how to test the system like with the ADF. This is just the lightning intensity when you have cockpit lighting enabled. What else do we have? That's all from here. Then we have the volume control. Just like with ADF, you can choose to check the channel frequency with Morse-Code. So the RSBN frequency of makeup is, well, the channel is 35, and it will send out a Morse-Code of DG. And that's the button right over here. Push to listen. Okay? And that's the volume. So we are gonna set this to maximum. Next. These two lights will signal if you have altitude and direction. Sorry. If you have distance and direction signals receiving from the RSBN channel, because altitude is only from PRMG system, not from the RSBN. RSBN is distance and direction only. PRMG is altitude, because of that is from the beam. Then you have an azimuth 0 setting, that is to reset the RMG back to 0. This is only used for by the ground chief, usually at the when he checks the plane. So it's not used by the pilot in flight. With these two buttons you could manually set a heading and a distance. Okay, distance isn't yet working. Or I have gone too far into minus, which isn't displayed. Let's check real quick. Yeah. Okay, seems to be kind of a bug. So as you can, but these switches are very, I don't know what to say, lazy. As you can see, I have released the switch like a minute ago and it's still moving. This, I don't know how to use that or why I would use that, quite honestly. It doesn't really seem to work properly. So let's zero it. Will the distance also be zeroed out? Apparently not. Okay, so these are all the buttons you need for the PRMG. You should also set the correct field elevation that is used by the PRMG system, as well as latitude for the for the magnetic compass. And for that we are gonna have to contact ATC. Yeah, my bad. Of course we first need to set the ATC channel, which is 4. And we do have an altitude setting, so we could just do it the hard way by flying straight and level and setting the altimeter to 180 meter and read out the pressure, but yeah, you're not gonna fly it that stable, so that this would be precise. So we need the ATC to tell us the pressure at the airport. Okay. So 74431. Seriously? 74431. Okay, that's quite a difference. I would say right about here. This one is a little bit more tricky because it's oh. Seven, 4, 4, 3, 1. This should be it. Okay. Yeah, more or less this must do. Now latitude we have 44 degrees, 40 minutes 17 seconds. So we will set 44 point. That's always a good question. Let's see what we can see. Yeah, this is even smaller. Wait a second. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit. Yeah, entering the latitude is a real pain in the ass. Okay, now with that out of the way, so we have set the barometric altimeter, the field elevation and airfield latitude. We are not working with NDBs, so we're gonna leave that. So we are setting up the navigation channels. Now he's at runway 4. So the heading, this would be the channels for that. That's 36. And we are PRMG right 34, of course, 36 is the PRMG. Okay, let's check the RSBN from the airport, DG. Perfect. Okay. So let's do it again real quick. Maybe it was a bit too fast. So D is dash dot dot dash dash dot. Yeah. Okay. So now we have set up everything except for the course. To get on the right runway course, we have to set the course knob to 38 degrees. That's 40. That's 36. Yeah, this should be 38 degrees. Okay, so let's quickly go onto the map. So what we are gonna have to do, we will have to fly over here and get on a heading to the runway. And now let's do this as much in the cockpit as possible. Okay, we can disable the guns. Okay, so let's get on the right heading. This would be 330, but this heading would get us to the airport. Now let's pause real quick again. So we were in nav mode, and it would put us into the direction of the runway, right? We would fly directly to the runway, but this way we cannot land. We have to go over here and land this way. And activating the glide path, we are a little bit close, because the glide path only works up to about 21-23 kilometers. Anyway, when we activate glide path, watch the RMI. Now this flag is black, which means the system has a signal for altitude, which is exactly what we are going for, because it should point us onto a height of 600 meters. But first we have to fly a little bit away from the airport, or at least 90 degrees, to get on the right course. And when the direction and course arrows meet up, we would have the right, we would fly on the right direction for the runway. So at this distance we are still a little bit low, as you can see. This is the recommended or required height by the RSBN GlidePath mode. Usually you wouldn't fly up to meet the height requirement, because it would go down and meet you when you're getting closer to the airport. But I want to show you that you on how to keep this line aligned and show you the proper glide path. And at about 21 kilometers the glide path end signal will illuminate. So we're at a very steep angle. We're gonna slowly move towards the required direction so that we don't overshoot, or at least not overshoot too much. We can go ahead and already enable the SDU. Now you can see the altitude flag is gone from this system also, and it would show you the line isn't really visible, like this. You can see the altitude line here on the ADI. The course line isn't yet activated, or direction line. So we are still waiting for those two to meet up. Yeah, pretty close. You've probably missed the... No, yeah, 29. Sorry, my bad. The problem in this chat is the 10 kilometer number will lower before you get the 9. So you will see 20.0, but you're actually at 29.9 kilometers. So yeah, I've still not incorporated that into my thinking. So slowly those two are meeting up, which means we are gonna try and get onto the right direction. Okay, we are nearly there. And we are at 26.5 kilometers. Okay, right about now is good. We are now more or less on the right heading to land. Hopefully we can keep it that way. We still need to go a little bit lower. Now the light will come on really soon. 22 kilometers. So we are not on the absolute correct heading, as you can see. Okay, end of descent. So this mode is over. Let's switch, come on, to landing. And now, as you can see, both flags have been removed, and also down here, which means we also have now direction from the landing system from the PRMG. And it tells us to go this way. You basically are chasing the needles. But you have to be careful, because this needle right here will show you the way to the airport RSBN location. So if we go to the airport, this is actually sits next to the runway, not on the runway. I don't know how or where the beam is generated. Probably from here. Let's unpause and continue. And you should be able to see what I mean. Okay, 15, we are at lower 300 kilometers per hour, so let's switch down the gears. And keep following the needles. Especially the cross on the RMI. Let's go ahead and move the flaps to middle position. Okay. We are getting a little bit slow. Let's move the flaps down completely. Now soon we will fly over the outer marker beacon. That's that. Now we are getting really slow. That's always happening to me. Because the plane gets really unstable at around 150, 160 kilometers per hour. So you have to be very careful not to stall the plane in the last few meters. I'm a bit too high. Marker. Okay. And we are down. It wasn't a perfect landing. I had to take several corrections, but it wasn't bad. As you can see, the system works pretty well. Yeah, and that's all about the RSBN and PRMG navigation. Okay, thanks for watching. See ya.